Hey everybody, it's Joe from greenlightsound.com, and today we've got a look at a really cool plugin from Tone Projects called Kelvin Tone Shaper, which is basically a two-part plugin. We've got two stages of saturation with a bunch of different modeled saturations that are analog style saturation, plus some shaping on the other side where we can do pre-saturation, kind of shaping how much saturation each frequency gets, and some post-saturation shaping. There's a soft clipper and a bunch of other really cool features we're going to take a look at. So to start off, we're going to look at the top bar. We've got three different ways of setting up our saturation. First is in series, where we have stage one into stage two. We could choose parallel here, and then we get a mix knob here for how much percentage blend of each of the two parallel stages happen in parallel mode. And in this case, the two stages don't affect each other. And then we go in mid-side mode, and you can see this is the mid-saturation and the side saturation here. And for each of these, we can pick different types of saturation, which we'll look at in just a minute. I'm going to jump back to our series. The quality settings right over here affect our oversampling. So we can go to low latency, good, high, or pristine here. I'm going to leave it on pristine. I'm going to jump over to Plugin Doctor so you can see exactly what's going on here. So we have it set to low latency right now. This is Plugin Doctor's input signal. It's about 380 something hertz. And as I change that input signal and push this fundamental higher and higher, all these overtones are going to jump up against our Nyquist frequency right here, which depends on our sample rate. Right now it's set to 44.1 in Plugin Doctor. And then you're going to see some of these overtones bounce back behind the fundamental, and that's aliasing. So if I push this up more and more and more and more, you're going to see those aliased frequencies down here reflecting from Nyquist. So anything below that fundamental, that's aliasing. So if we change our oversampling right here, our quality from low latency to pristine, look at that. They mostly disappear. Back to low latency, there they are again. Pristine, they mostly disappear. And if you're really pushing this hard, a lot of saturation driving into this, those alias frequencies can become very obvious, and this will bring them down. Since we're in Plugin Doctor, I'll jump over to our linear analysis, and you can see that each saturation unit that I scroll through has a little bit different frequency response as well. There we go. A lot of low roll-off and some different characteristics for each one. So we're back in series mode here, and one of these stages is labeled gain and one is labeled drive, and it's good to understand what that means. When you're in series, gain adjusts gain into stage 1 and 2, and drive just adjusts the intensity for stage 2 here. So this can push into both stages, and this is just the intensity of stage 2. When you move over to like parallel mode here, gain does not affect stage 2 drive at all. We've got an output trim and an output control down here, and the plugin also features auto loudness compensation in addition to those two controls, but these are for some fine tuning after that. What I'm going to do now is have it in parallel mode. I'm going to move it all the way over to its 100% on stage 1. I'm going to drive the input. So all we're hearing is the stage 1 saturation, and then just kind of scroll through the different units we have modeled here to hear how the saturation differs between them. Just get like a moderate amount of saturation here, and I'll scroll through. Definitely different tonal characteristics. These are unique, pure second and third order harmonics. Now, if I push it to where it's really driving out, I'll bring this output down a little bit too. You're going to hear a lot of difference in the different models, starting back at the top. So yeah, big difference in the tone as you're moving through them when they're full on distorted. So jumping over to Plugin Doctor again, we're going to take a look at what this spread does. Basically increases stereo width by having a little variation in the left and right channel harmonics. So right now we have two different channels of harmonics, the left and right, and they're pink for one channel and blue for the other. And if I start to click on spread and get it up and up and up toward wide, if you look at Plugin Doctor's harmonics, you're going to see a little bit of a difference in the blue and the pink. Already just one level up. You can see a little bit, blue's a little bit more on one side than the other. A little bit more, and full on all the way wider. And that's the difference between those left and right harmonics. Back over to the DAW, we've got a Defuzz feature, which reduces saturation of mid and high frequencies and reduces the artifacts from the saturation as well. So the middle setting affects only the high frequencies when we're up here, while the top setting here affects the upper mids as well, in addition to the highs. So we'll turn that off for now. We've got our shaping section over here, which is really cool and really unique. Below, we can set the frequency for each filter. We have a bunch of different filters to choose from. Two different high pass pre and post, low shelf, high Q bell, wide bell, and EQP low, which is sort of a Pultec style with a resonant little dip below. So the pre-slider in the EQ sets the pre-gain into the saturation for whatever frequency band you're working with, which the gain is then automatically compensated for as long as the post-slider is still at unity. And the post sliders are for sort of post-saturation tonal shaping. So this doesn't actually change your tonal characteristics or frequency response. This is just how much you're driving or pulling out the saturation in each band, and this is actual normal EQ. And we can change down here right below the frequency knob. We can change what we're affecting, stage 1, stage 2, both stages, or if we're in mid-side mode, we can do the mid or the side signal. If we choose a filter here, high pass filter, you can choose whether it's stage 1 or stage 2, pre or post, so tons of shaping options here. And finally, in our output section here, we've got our output and our output trim. This is really cool because if we turn on the soft clipper, we can drive this into the clipper and then pull the output down so we're level matching and get a really cool clipped signal that way too. So not just another stage of saturation and clipping. And of course, a mix knob, standard mix knob. So what I'd like to do now is play that same drum track again and just kind of use Kelvin as I would on a mix, using both stages. We're going to go into series here, using some of this tone shaping, maybe the clipper, maybe the mix knob, and see what kind of results we can get. We can mangle it if we want to, or have it really subtle. If I bypass it on and off, just watch the power button here. It'll start on. Or I could just crush it, go 100% wet, push these up a lot, and then pull this mix knob down. Let's jump through a preset here. Let's go on drum presets. First one here. Next preset. So there's a huge transformation with this push-pull EQ. I'll bypass it and then engage. Next one. Next, we'll run through some presets for bass and see what sounds we can get on there. So here's the bass part without Kelvin at all. And engaged. And bypassed again. So there it is, Kelvin Tone Shaper, a fantastic saturation plugin with 2 stages of saturation, a bunch of tonal shaping options, pre and post saturation, and a lot of great features for a great price. This plugin is only $99. So when you compare it to a lot of other plugins that are this good and do saturation like this, they tend to cost a lot more. So I highly recommend you checking this out. Tone Projects, Kelvin Tone Shaper. If you have any questions or comments, let me know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already, so we can keep you in the loop as to what's coming up next, and I'll see you in the next one.